These are the worst. Shadows. I would call these the most gimmick skates ever. I've been wanting to make this video for a very long time. I might going to get a lot of hate for this, but hear me out. I want to love shadows. I want to love shadows because I love quirky skates. These skates, holy hell, these are so heavy I couldn't even lift them. Holy. Okay, so these are so, what the hell I wanted to say, So, shadows, these are the most gimmicky skates ever made. And I'm even amazed that these are still being manufactured. Probably the only reason is because Power Slide, because it has a fan base, and Power Slide, who currently owns the molds, the injection tools to the skate, probably would release a new model every 2 or 3 years just to have that small base served. But recently Eugen started skating shadows and he started to make improvements. But I want to go into just generally, I don't want to trash Eugen's contribution to this type of skate. Just generally, I just want to go into why shadows suck so bad. So let's start with the most obvious thing, that you don't get a full shell. Without getting a full shell, you are held by 3 pressure areas. The strap on the toe, strap on the, this is the 45 strap, and you get a strap at the cuff. So the biggest problem is the pressure point, that you don't get a full shell, you only get a few straps, 3 straps to hold you into this. I normally call it plastics handle that wraps around your shoe or your eclipse liner. My other problem is there are 2 more big ones. At least for me, there is an endless list of problems with the shell. It's not a shell. Skeleton, the sole plate sizing, that how certain sole plate widths and lengths just don't really work for certain foot sizes. It's probably not a problem only for me, but for generally others too. My heel is slipping here, and doesn't matter how much I tighten the laces. If I tighten the 45, I get pain. But even if I don't tighten it, I get pain. I still get pain because that's the only thing holding me down, this small area instead of a larger area. But the problem is, it doesn't matter how much I tighten this, tighten the shoe, the eclipse liner, and the 45 degree, I will still be slipping. I feel like I'm falling out from the skate, and that's never good. My other problem is ride height. There's just so much redundancy here. There's just so much stuff between your heel and your wheels. There's just, it's really cool that you can adjust the cuff back and forth just to get the right amount of clearance at the front. But generally, I feel very disconnected from this skate. I would say these are the worst skates that I've ever tried. And I used to skate the Shadows. I had the, I think it was probably the first Chris Farmer Pro Shadow. I skated it for about a year, and that was around the time when I stopped skating. It's not the skate's fault, obviously, but I never really liked that skate. I liked the idea of it. I was lured into it by seeing all my favorite skaters, all my favorite bladers doing the best tricks in these skates. There's one other big thing that is probably not just for me either. Safety hazard. This toe is not very stiff. It doesn't really have a very hard layer, and it's pretty hard to find a shoe that is not some very special work boot, work shoe that you could put into these skeletons to protect your toenails if you ever kick into something. And it really happened to me that I accidentally stepped with one foot onto the other. That was with my old XSJADOS, and it was pretty painful. I've heard a bunch of horror stories about people losing toenails with this, by this safety hazard, that it doesn't really have a hard toe cap or any protection for your toes and toenails. I don't really have any ideas how to make shadows better. I custom mod my own because I use these for a very specific purpose. The only thing I normally modify is the outer side. I have white feet, and I normally have to Dremel out from the cuff just to make the cuff thinner around here. And I normally, if I use the shock absorbers, I normally cut them a bit thinner around this area where it connects, just to release some pressure. And I also use a thicker insole just to elevate myself, because I have white feet, and even this rubber edge of the Eclipse liner is putting some pressure on the side of my feet. So if I get a thicker, like a 5 to 6 millimeter insole, that elevates me from this rubber edge. So I understand most people don't really care about this aspect of a skate, but this is heavy, and this is the lightest frame I got. These are the Featherlight 3s. No, these Featherlight 2 freestyles. These are my lightest frames. Doesn't have any extra wheels. It's the most simple frame I could put on a skate to make it lighter. And I need to admit, I never really took the older style sole plate apart, but I took it apart a few days ago, and this thing is pretty light. It has this very lightened structure on the inside. The sole plates, these sliders are not very thick, but overall this skate is extremely heavy compared to whatever other skates I have. I know it's not a turn off for a lot of people, but to me, lighter skates equal easier, more effortless movement, and there's not many ways to make this skate lighter. If I really wanted to, I don't think I want to try making this lighter. So I don't hate shadows. I just think they suck. They are bad skates. They are total gimmicks. But I love shadows. I love the look. I love the quirky look. Look at the look down. These look like grind machines. Freaking machinery. This very cyberpunk look very futuristic, very unusual. And let's say I show up in a skate park. All the scooter kids or whoever is there is going to wonder, not just what the hell are those, but absolutely what the hell are those on the guy's feet? What the hell are these? So what I really like about them, besides the look and the uniqueness, I really like my memories, because I watched my favorite skaters skating these grind machines, these freestyle foot machines for years, and probably that is keeping me captivated. The other thing is I like to take these skates off and go back to my normal skates that are much lighter, much more comfortable, much more responsive. So I'm gonna be keeping my shadows. Doesn't matter how much they suck, doesn't matter how painful they are and they mess up my feet. Right here, mostly at the top, I get a little bit of pressure on the sides still, a little bit of pressure right here on my ankles, but it's keeper. I'm gonna be skating them from time to time just to feel how horrible they are, then have the luxury to take these off and go skate my other better skates.